Thank you so much for coming. Chef Thierry Rautureau was nice enough to grace Google with his presence, or formerly known as Chef in the Hat. He's going to be talking to us about what's left in your fridge and making sure that we kind of utilize everything that's there. We always see those memes that's kind of like you look in your fridge and you stand there for 10 minutes and then come back 10 minutes later and it's still the same thing left in your fridge. So he's going to teach us how to utilize everything and make an awesome recipe with it. So the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this little game that I like to play, I used to do a radio show on NPR with, sorry, I'm turning my clock on so I have an idea where we are. I used to do this show on NPR called What's Left in Your Fridge with Steve Scher in the morning. It was a very popular show, and I think the main reason is because most of us open the fridge at home, and even though it's packed because we live in America, you look at the fridge and you go, I got nothing to eat. You gotta go out, right? Many of us are guilty of that. And you know, we have tons of shit in the cupboard and we don't know what to do with it. Or we don't feel like cooking, which is the other bad part, is we all want to cook but we don't have time, or we don't want to take the time. And it's never fun if you're by yourself. It's also very hard to be motivated. When there is more than one person, it's a little bit easier because the other person might say, God, I can't wait till you cook me something. At least you got an end product here. So I thought, we play a little bit of that game of what's left in your fridge. And the concept of the game started with my kids, who were at the time 12 and 16, my two boys, and I would hear this all the time. You'd have a cold roasted chicken in the fridge, and they would open the fridge and go, there's nothing to eat. And I always used to make a joke. I go, what, you want a white glove guy coming up from the back of the fridge with a beautiful roasted warm chicken? And he was, yeah. I said, well, gee, he's working on it, but it's not ready yet. So we all want to have an instant gratification of a beautiful roasted chicken or other things, whatever you feel like eating. So the idea was coming, always using the analogy of that half onion that you put in your fridge 3 days ago. It's starting to go like this. And it's looking at you every time you open the fridge going, go, take me! Because it's going worse and worse on a minute basis. And you're looking at that half onion after 3 days going, God, I can finally put this shit in the garbage. It's total waste of an onion and total waste of both people's time and energy, because you're wasting a half an onion. There's no reason for that. You can take that half an onion, slice it thin, throw it in the pan with a little bit of olive oil and butter, and you caramelize the onion, which means you cook it until it's totally gorgeous, melted down brown. Now you've got caramelized onion. You can take that, put it in the fridge, and use it in the next week over a crostini of goat cheese, or put it into a soup, or add it into your ice cream. No, just kidding. But you know what I'm saying. You can use that half onion. There's absolutely no reason why any of you smart people waste food, especially good food, time food. You're going to take the time to buy at the farmer's market, or make the effort of buying better food, spending more money. There is no excuses to put shit in the garbage, because that doesn't make any sense. We throw away about 40% of the processed food, 50% of the processed food in this country, which is fine with me because it shouldn't be there in the first place. But the good food is what you don't want to waste. And the most important part is most people, they cook one day and then the next day or the next day or the next day, like, I cooked on Sunday and it's Thursday. I'm still remembering the pain. So, and I get it. Again, I get it how, it is very important that you make it as simple as possible. This is a word that people use a lot. Chefs use that a lot when they're on TV. They always go, let me show you how simple it is to make frog legs stuffed with a salmon mousseline and some salt. And you're like, Jesus Christ, you lost me at the frog legs. When do I get frog legs? So, simple is a term of, a very term of endearment for many, but in reality, it's very hard to have food being that simple when you are by yourself cooking for lunch, or when you for dinner, or you have 3 friends coming over and you're like, what the hell am I going to cook? I gotta go buy shopping and spend all this money just to make. And you're like, cool up. You got all this stuff in your house. You got some frozen shrimp in the. So let's start from the beginning. I believe you should have in your freezer at least something that looks like a stock, which would be some bone of chicken that you've kept and made stock with, and then or vegetable, and put that in your freezer. Because you never know when you're going to want to eat soup, and you've got a couple of hours, you can defrost that and make a nice, beautiful soup, and you've got the stock to make it instead of buying a shitty salted liquid that you can find most places for stock. So, basic stock. Stock is basically saying you have a flavored liquid in your freezer that can accommodate most of the soups you're going to be wanting to make or sauces that you want to make. 2, you should have at least something that looks like shrimp or something like this, and good shrimp, not crummy one. Spot prawn, something that's local. Buy it, freeze it, put it in the freezer. So you're ready for an emergency, especially if you're single and she's coming over and you're scared because you don't want her to leave. Well, I think a bottle of champagne, some shrimp, and some pasta could go a long way. Ladies? Yes? Yeah, I think so. If I know I'm going to have somebody coming over, and it could be vice versa, obviously it's not one gender-sided, but it's made to... The idea is that when you cook something for somebody, usually they don't run away, they usually stay, unless you're the shittiest cook on the planet, and they know that. I have a reservation somewhere. But in most cases, people will be very happy that you cook for them. Who here doesn't like someone to cook for them? Obviously, nobody's raising their hand, so I guess we're all on the code on that. It's very cool when someone cooks you something, right? So based on that, it is nice, and also economically is very important, because I don't know about you, but in my cupboard right now, I know that I have for sure some beans, some pasta, some rice, starches, obviously, that are basics. And I also have tomato sauce, a whole tomato, the Marzano tomato, that's a whole tomato in the sauce, in the juice. And I also have, soy sauce, mirin, I have all kind of different backup of different spices and vinegars and so on and so forth. So I have a lot of stuff to cook with. But if I open my fridge and go, oh man, what do I want to eat? I'm not thinking about all my stuff. That's because I'm not opening the cupboard, I'm not actually doing inventory, which is the first thing you should do before you do anything when you want to cook. Obviously, if you don't want to cook, just go to a restaurant and do what I love you to do, which is come to my restaurant. But if you don't do that, if you want to cook at home, the first thing you have to do is take inventory so you can actually have a direction of where you're going to be going in terms of what you're going to be cooking. So that's number one, especially if you're at home and you're going, okay, tomorrow morning is Saturday, I'm going to go to University Farmers Market, I'm going to buy something really cool that's seasonal and local and whatever, and make something for the weekend. That's a great idea, it's fabulous, that's how you should think. But the first beginning should be, first, let me check what I have at home so I don't buy more, right? You don't want to, you've got 2 cucumbers that have been sitting in your vegetable bins for the last week, they don't look so good, and then you're going back to the farmer's market and buy another 3. Now you get 5 cucumbers, 2 of them that are, and 3 of them are going to follow the same pattern because you're most likely going to use the old one first. And anyway, you get the drift. You need to make inventory so you know what you have. Plus, when you're at the market and you look at that, let's say that pork shoulder, there's a farmer from Whidbey Island who's at the market and he's got this pork, right? He's got this pork shoulder and you're like, oh man, pork shoulder, that sounds so good. What am I going to do with that? So you go, what do I have at home? Oh, okay, so I've got, what do I have? I have soy sauce, I have brown sugar, I have honey, I have rice vinegar. I can make a nice little brine, brine my pork shoulder in that. So now you already have a beginning. Or, let's say you have none of that, but you have cumin, coriander, salt. You have all these different items. You can make a nice rub and put it all over your shoulder, leave it on the counter, let it macerate for a couple of hours, and now you've got a shoulder that's ready to cook. You can also take that shoulder and instead of having it as a big block, which I'm not a big fan of, I'm a fan of like butterflying it, which means like you keep cutting it down, right? So you make it all the same thickness, like you would for a leg of lamb, pork shoulder, anything. You make it about this thick and you rub the whole thing out, and then you've got this wonderful piece of meat that's ready to go on the barbecue. Throw it on the grill slowly, and then 2 hours later you're eating this tender piece of meat. So that's the way of thinking in terms of your cupboard and your refrigerator. In your refrigerator, if you've got 2 onions, lemon, and a potato, you're like, what the hell, I'm ready. You're going to farmer's market and you go, oh, they got beautiful kale right now in season. Gorgeous mushrooms in season. I just did a demo on the other side with mushroom. How many of you saw the demo? You guys don't work very hard, do you? Oh, you wouldn't. I was going to say, you guys don't work very hard. You have time to watch a demo? Just kidding. Anyway, mushrooms are in season. So you go to the farmer's market right now, there's tons of beautiful tomatoes, mushrooms, all the peppers, eggplant, all that stuff is coming. It's the end of it. It's a big, giant last push. The harvest, everything is gorgeous, it's ripe, it's at its best flavor you can possibly get it. This is the time to do it. You get a bunch of zucchini, squashes, onions, bell peppers, eggplant. You come home, you prepare all this in shape and dice, and you can make a wonderful ratatouille. You guys ever heard of ratatouille? Wonderful little stew of basically summer vegetables. And tomatoes and all that, and tomato soup and so on and so forth. There's all kinds of things you can do. But you still have in your refrigerator that, what did I say, a lemon, potato, and 2 onions. So you're going to take the onions, you're going to slice them, you're going to caramelize them, and add them to your ratatouille. You don't need to buy 2 onions to put in your ratatouille because you already get them at home. The lemon is the same thing. You can grate the lemon and put that all over your ratatouille, give it a nice little zing. The lemon juice, you can make a dressing with it and use it for your salad. So that's how you have to think. You have to think about using what's in your refrigerator first, so you don't waste. And also, when you make things, even if you're alone, especially if you're alone, or you live alone, and you don't feel like cooking every day, when you do something, think of the future. Like, when I cook at home, when I turn on my barbecue, I always cook for more than one day. Never, ever have I turned my barbecue for one thing. When I turn on the barbecue and turn on the Weber, I'm always cooking vegetables more than I need. I'm cooking chicken, whatever I'm doing, and I'm cooking a whole chicken. I'm butchering the whole thing down into 8 different pieces. And I'm going to eat 2 with my wife, and we get chicken that's already cooked in the refrigerator for the next couple of days. You can take the chicken off the bone, put it into a soup. You can take the chicken off the bone, put it into a sandwich. You can put it into a salad. There's many ways you can reuse those different components, but the idea is to make it into a bigger size when you stop. And all those vegetables that have been grilled, they're fabulous just for a salad. Reduce balsamic vinegar, mixed with eggplant and onions and peppers. You get a wonderful salad. You can add that with some goat cheese and put that on crostini, put it in the oven for 5 minutes. You get a wonderful toast. You get wonderful tartine or wonderful bread. If you don't want to eat bread, you can just warm up all the vegetable by itself, throw it on the pasta. You could have buckwheat pasta and some wonderful roasted vegetable. The vegetables have already been grilled. So it's an advantage that you have, and you can whip this thing up in 15 minutes. You can be sitting down, crumble, shake some Parmesan wrap, tagliatelle, some Reggiano, and you got a wonderful pasta. It's not very complicated. If you have the broth, and you remember to throw it in the microwave for a couple of minutes, if you have a microwave. I don't have a microwave, so I have to think a little bit ahead for defrosting things. But if you can remember in the morning, you just take it out, put it in your refrigerator. By the time you get back home, your thing is melted down, ready to go. You can make a quick soup with all those grilled vegetables. You have already one layer of flavor from the grill, which is that grilling/smoking flavor that's added to your vegetable. You take the onions that we were talking about earlier, you slice it thin, you saute it really nicely, add a couple of spices of cumin, a little curry maybe, throw in all your grilled vegetables, put in your stock, you got a wonderful soup ready to go. Throw in some vermicelli pasta and it's all beautiful and ended. Or some leftover rice that you have cooked in your refrigerator, throw that in there, you got a wonderful soup with rice in it. Potato that was left. You peel it, you dice it small, you throw it in the soup. By the time everything is boiling and cooking, the potatoes are cooked, you get a wonderful addition to your soup. So the frame of mind is to never waste anything. And I know, of course, I have an advantage on you guys. I've been cooking for a few more years. 40 something. I'm not that old. It's just the number of years. But so I have a different way of looking at things. But cooking is just like I think the reason cooking is so attractive to a lot of people, especially what we call geeks, the reason it's attractive is because it's the same kind of thing. It's a frame of mind. You have to just solve an equation. You have 5 different items in front of you, and you're trying to make something. And I think that's what's attractive about cooking. The only difference between this and numbers is there's a lot of giveaway. There's no giveaway in numbers, but there's giveaway in food. If you put too many potatoes, nobody's going to die. It's not going to change the equation. You're still making the same dish, right? So that's what's so. I think that's what's so very attractive about cooking, is there is an artistic side that can be satisfied, and of course, a nice little happy tummy in the end. So, all right, let's play the game of what's left in your fridge. Who's got a refrigerator at home with stuff in it? And if any of you don't raise your hand, I'm going to be pissed. I'm coming to your home. No, just kidding. What's in your fridge? That sounds like a lot of stuff. Let me write this down.
Well, we had a neighborhood party yesterday.
Yeah. So you must have a lot of leftover.
So in addition to the raw materials, we also have some leftover. We made a quinoa salad.
I'm sorry, you have what?
Quinoa salad.
Quinoa salad.
Quinoa salad, yeah.
Beautiful. What's in the salad already?
Chickpeas, cucumber, maybe some other stuff. My wife made it, so I made
Did you see
something
it?
wrong.
Was it good?
Yes, it was
Okay.
delicious.
So you have quinoa salad. What else do you have?
Okay, what else do we have?
Do you have lemon, potatoes, onions, tomato, anything like that?
Yes,
You have tomatoes in your refrigerator?
not in the refrigerator.
Okay. I was going to say something. Damn, I didn't catch
Tomatoes?
it.
Actually, yes, we do have tomatoes. Yes, and they're
But they're in the fridge.
they're in the fridge. They're nice.
You didn't get the joke the first time. So, what's the number one rule with tomato? Never put them in the fridge.
Never put them in the fridge. Well, they were farm tomatoes, and we got more than we needed, so.
Were you trying to find an excuse in front of me? Nice spot. Okay, so it goes like this. Tomatoes do not go in the fridge. I don't care if they're ripe, overripe, or whatever. They don't go in the fridge. If they're starting to break and the juice is starting to fall off, take it, put it in the freezer. You'll have a frozen tomato.
So
Now,
freezer,
put it
not
in
the fridge.
Because by going in the fridge, you're destroying the flavor and the sugar content and all that stuff changes, and the tomato tastes like
I feel
all the
terrible.
tomato you taste in the world nowadays.
I feel terrible now for doing that to the tomato.
That wasn't trying to make me feel terrible. But your wife, on the other hand, just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. This is not about making you feel bad. This is about education. This is not anything like this. I'm not trying to make you feel a lesser man. This is about trying to figure out how to make things better. So if your tomato is staying on the counter, first of all, they're going to taste a lot better. They're going to keep ripening. And yes, tomatoes do go bad, like anything else. They do. They go overripe, they start cracking, fruit fly, blah, blah, blah. You can make all the excuses in the world, but this is the way Mother Nature works. Mother Nature has never made tomato to be refrigerated. Yes, sir.
Just want to interrupt that. For 10 years or so, I've been trying to convince the kitchen staff at Google to not refrigerate the tomatoes. They won't listen to you.
Hey man, I take the fifth. This is not my restaurant. You have a bigger problem on your hand. This is a big company that's running this operation. You're gonna have to go way up many channels. Tomatoes are not meant to be refrigerated. At the same time, there are breeds of tomato on the market today that are meant to be refrigerated. So go figure this out. Mother Nature never made a fruit to be refrigerated. That's never been the case. There is no fruit that should be refrigerated. There should be because we make them, just like eggs are not supposed to be refrigerated, but because we start refrigerating them, we have to keep them refrigerated. Because like anything else, once you start messing with it, you gotta keep it that way. Because you cannot bring it back. So if eggs have never been refrigerated, they never have to be refrigerated. But if they have been refrigerated, they need to stay refrigerated. Does that make sense? Wow. Oh, no, everybody says yes, nobody asks questions. You're going to really believe everything I said? No, I'm just kidding.
Does this apply to all vegetables?
Excuse me?
Does this apply to all vegetables?
No. Fruits.
Fruits.
Not vegetable, I didn't say vegetable, I said fruit. Okay, so the main reason with fruit is the sugar content, the way the fruit is built has to do with sugar, right? The sugar builds up. If you cool it off, it all comes down. You have there's something chemically that happens to the fruit that actually changes the texture and the flavor. You all know what I'm talking about. You've had cold strawberries and room temp strawberries, right? You've had the difference between the two? No? Okay, well, you should try it. Since you guys are such scientists and very curious people, you'll find out that I actually have a point there. If you ever have a chance, try putting, let's use the tomato as an example. Put a tomato in the fridge, keep a tomato outside, wait 24 hours, and then try them both. Cut them in half, take a slice of one, wait 1 minute so your palate clears up, try the other one, and see which one you like better. If I'm full of shit, you're very much entitled to do whatever you want. Okay, tomatoes, not in the fridge, but what else do you have? Because we've got tomato and quinoa salad so far, so I can just add the tomato and the quinoa salad. And that will just add it.
We'll probably have some chicken.
Chicken, it's cooked already, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you have any cheeses?
Yes, we have feta cheese, probably maybe some goat cheese.
Feta cheese is good. Olives, anything like that?
Yes, we do have some olives.
Olives. Do you have, I mean, I can keep asking questions if you say yes. Do you have any basil?
Basil, we have fresh basil, not in the fridge.
Yeah, well, I would hope so, yes. That's another thing that needs to be fresh. Basil. Everybody should have a plant of basil. I don't care if you live in a condo or whatever, you put it on the windowsill. You can buy a basil plant and you just leave it on your windowsill and use a few leaves at a time. And when the plant is dead, you get another one. This is very simple. But you should have that basil right out there. And again, we buy basil, it gets refrigerated, all that stuff. It's all fine and dandy, but you shouldn't have to do that. Basil is a plant just like parsley, just like any of these fresh plants. You come home, when you go to the farmer's market, you buy basil, you come home, you take the bottom part, you just cut the stem off just like you would on the flower. You set it in water on your windowsill. Make sure it's not in full sun all day long, because otherwise it will eventually cook through the window. And make sure it's in the light, and then if you put it in cold water, it will come right back up and be purky the whole time, and then you can just pick your basil as you go until the plant dies. Refrigeration is something that most of you young kids don't know any different, but I actually was born in a house that had no refrigeration, and I'm not that old. I'm not that old, and refrigeration has not always existed. You just have to know what goes in and what doesn't. The main reason we put everything in refrigeration is because it's already in refrigeration. 90% of the fruits and products on the market gets to leave the field unfinished, unripe, unready to eat. They get put in boxes, they get put with a gas that just helps them ripen for the next few months, and then it comes to you and stays at Safeway for another 2 weeks looking at you going, young and perky. And you're like, how the hell does that work? Last time I picked something out of my garden, that sure didn't last 2 months. So, I'm going political now. Cut! Back to the fridge. Tomato, feta, olive. So far we could make a nice little olive tapenade, mix it with a little bit of break down your feta. And in the olives, you chop the olive really fine, a little bit of olive oil in the bowl, break down the feta. Maybe if do you have any onions or shallots in your refrigerator or on the counter, because you shouldn't refrigerate those either.
Onions are not refrigerated.
No?
No, not
No.
onions.
Do you have any garlic?
Yes, refrigerated. I'm honest here.
No. I want you to be honest because it's the case in 90% of the people. You don't need to refrigerate garlic.
So you said don't refrigerate onions. Is that true even if you've cut and used half an onion?
No. These are whole. Okay. Once you cut it in half, you should put it in the fridge because you don't know the next time you're going to use it. But before you put it in the fridge, the number one thing you should do is wrap it up in plastic wrap. Because I've been into many people's house, actually in my house. I go to my house every day. And open the fridge and go find a half lemon that was like, who the hell did this? How do you put a half lemon in my refrigerator without covering it? So covering your food is very important because it allows the dryness of the refrigerator not to cooperate into destroying the fruit or vegetable.
If you cut a lemon in half, and then put it like face down on a plate, is that sufficient?
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
That the idea is to not have the contact of the oxidation right on top of the meat.
Yeah.
The lemon, the rest is protected. That's perfectly fine. Usually I don't do that in my house because I don't like to have a half a lemon on a plate in my fridge. I feel like really I got no room in my fridge and this is what I'm putting a plate for a lemon. But that's me. That's because I got things in my fridge. So you could make a nice little tapenade. To go back to you. Do you have any? You said you have chicken.
Yes,
So is it chicken breast, legs? What is it?
breast.
Breast. Why did you say breast? Is it for real? You buy only chicken breast?
You mean if I buy whole chickens or just chicken breast? Both. Sometimes we buy chicken breast.
See, this is amazing to me because a lot of people do that. They buy chicken breast. But the problem is on the market, a lot of the chicken breasts are, and sadly enough, not real good chicken breast. You know, when you buy a whole chicken, it's kind of like buying a car and buying only the doors. You just buy the 4 doors that goes on the car and not buying the entire car. You know, I could sell you doors that look like the car you're going to buy, but actually I'm from another car. But, you know, you get the analogy. I'm trying to be playing an analogy on this. But chicken, if you can, as much as you can, even if you're alone cooking for yourself, buy a whole chicken. It's a little bit more of an investment at the beginning. It's much cheaper in the end, economically wise. It's a much more sound buying. But most importantly, when you buy the chicken, if you buy it from Joe the farmer, you actually know what that chicken's been done. Because you can ask Joe, hey, what do you guys do with your chicken? How do you raise them? And he's going to tell you, well, they roll around the house, whatever, the farm, maybe not the house, but the farm, you know, and so on and so forth. So you get a better product in the end. Now, there are good chicken breasts out there if you buy them from the same guy who's selling the chicken in small parts. I guess you can do that too. But in most cases, that 6-pack of chicken breast has never seen feathers and is skinless. You know, not a big fan of that. But that's me. Now, regardless, that's what you have in your fridge, so we're going to use that. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make the chicken and we're going to slice it. We're going to cook the breast very gently. I like to use butter for that. And cook it medium heat, not too hot, so it never really colors until the end, where I'm going to crank the heat when the chicken breast is like 4 or 5 minutes into the pan. It's almost ready to cook. It's almost cooked. I'm going to change the butter that's in there and put some fresh nugget to butter and really crank the heat. You know, nice seasoning on top of the chicken. And I'm going to make sure that the butter browns out. So you get a nice coloring on your chicken breast, but you're not doing it from the beginning, because I'm afraid that if you do it at the beginning, you're going to dry out your chicken breast. You're going to get rid of all that heat's going to keep the moisture. But if you do it at the end, when your chicken is like 3/4 ready, you do it at the end, so you're finishing your product like this, so it's not dangerous to do it at that time. And you move the chicken, let it rest. We're going to slice it super thin, put the olive tapenade right on top with the mixed with the feta cheese. Yeah, you following me? On top of the quinoa salad. So you could warm up your quinoa salad and turn that into a hot dish, right? If you take that same quinoa salad and you warm it up gently in a pan, you have a warm quinoa, which is nothing wrong with that, and what's in that salad is going to be warm as opposed to cold. Then you put your chicken breast on top and your tapenade and feta cheese right on top of that, and then you probably have you said you have some nuts? No, you didn't say anything about nuts. Do you have any nuts in your house?
Yes,
Hazelnut or something?
we have almond and walnut and
So you could take almond and toast them really nicely brown, and then sprinkle all over your dish. So now you've got almond, olive tapenade, chicken, and quinoa. And this is when, if you have any green salad that's in your refrigerator for a couple of days, this is time to use them. Throw them in a bowl, toss them with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, put that right on the side of it, and you've got a wonderful light dinner. And it's not really complicated, or is it? No. You guys could do this. How many of you could never do that? Okay, so most of you could. Cool. All right, let's pick on someone else. No, just kidding. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next. Who wants to take it?
We can do a panel.
You guys like living together?
When the occasion needs it. What's in my fridge? Some gras.
You have foie gras in your fridge? Oh my god, this is like...
And champagne.
You know, when I did that show on the radio, What's Left in Your Fridge, there was a guy who was trying to be really funny and called me on the radio and he goes, you know, because we'd have people calling and I goes, okay, so what do you got in your fridge? The guy goes, well, I've got a bear. I'm like, man, that is a big freezer. He's like, oh no, it's just a shoulder. Anyway.
Some rillettes that I made a couple of days ago.
Okay, so you've got rillettes and foie gras so far. Right?
This is why I look the way I look. I probably have carrots and celery and things like that.
So carrots, celery, onion?
Not in my fridge,
No?
but I have plenty of them.
But you have onions?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I have onion, shallots, potatoes, 30 different spices. Lots of
Do
stuff.
you have anything else besides rillette and foie gras in the refrigerator?
The aforementioned carrots, I have some chanterelles, but they're already cooked. They're
Okay.
à la grecque.
How did you cook them?
À la grecque.
Oh yeah, that's right. You told me that earlier.
I have
bread
eggs.
is. It's a basis of basically shallots, garlic, white wine. It's called Greek style, and you basically cook your mushroom in foaming butter, put all the liquid on top, and let it cook very gently like this. So you end up with a little briny kind of mushroom. It's done very commonly with white button mushroom, but using it with chanterelles is delicious.
I like that since my first second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, vinegar, the white vinegar. So,
I have eggs, I have milk, I have probably white wine.
so in protein, the only two things you have is foie gras and rillette.
And eggs, that's pretty nice.
No, that's true. That's true. But I'm just trying to see if you have any.
I have
I mean,
I have a bit of.
I would expect to hear like we have fresh halibut caught from. If I have foie gras, I'm like, I got 6 scallops
Okay,
fresh from the diver bowl.
I have a piece of ribeye from yesterday, but I already have an idea for it. So, but,
You already have an idea for it, so mine doesn't count.
so I'm hiding it from you. That's all I have, I think.
Okay, so I think we could make a nice little. What's this that I wrote here? I can't even read my own writing. Potato chanterelle. It'd be nice to make a nice little chanterelle potato and those vegetable carrots. You have carrots? Yeah.
I do have carrots. Yeah. I also have caviar cubes, but
Caviar cubes?
yeah, which I haven't tried yet. I was talking to them with the one potato salad, but I would love your idea.
It's like saying, you know, I got a Ferrari and a Porsche in the rest in the garage, but I use my moped. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the moped. Just forget about the Ferrari. It's too expensive. No. What I'm going to do is use the carrots, the onions, and celery, make a nice little sweating vegetable with that. And I'm going to throw in the chanterelle, the potatoes, I'm sorry, in there, diced. Throw that together. So now I got all those vegetables sweating together. Do you have any stock in your house?
Yes.
What kind?
I have chicken, beef, and beef.
Please get you should open a restaurant.
I have a friend who's a much better cook than me, and he said if I want to spend that much money, I'll just invite people to my house, and then I pick who's eating.
That's exactly what you should
I
do.
think he's smart.
I'll open a restaurant. Just keep cooking the way you like to cook. Anyway, we make the vegetables sweating, and then we put a little chicken stock in there, or vegetable stock, which either way, if you want to keep it veg. Well, I don't think I should worry about this because I'm going to use the foie gras somewhere, so never mind. Chicken stock. Reduce down with all the vegetables. What I want to do is use that ribeye that you have and do a nice sear on the ribeye, medium rare. Let it sit, and then
So it's been cooked yesterday.
it's cooked already.
Yeah. It's
Oh, even better. You don't have to cook it. Better. Take the ribeye, slice it super, super thin. I want to make a quick steak salad to go with on top of the tombé of vegetable that I'm going to do with the stock. The stock is reduced down all the way, finish with a little nugget of butter and a nugget of foie gras. Is the foie gras raw or is it cooked?
No, it's
Oh, it's too big. Well, I can still incorporate it into the sauce. At the end, so now you get that rich base of like vegetable and foie gras. You guys know what foie gras is? So you've got that as a base, and then on top of that, I would do the ribeye, thinly sliced, and I'm going to do a milk and egg batter. with a little bit of flour in it, almost like a batter, like a frying batter, like a crepe batter.
like a tempura batter.
Yeah, like a tempura batter, ideal. And I'm gonna take the chanterelle and drain them out. I'm gonna put them in the batter and I'm gonna fry them because they have a beautiful little acid flavor in there. So I'm gonna put them in that batter. I'm gonna put a little beer in the batter too. You probably have a beer at home. Little light, please. Good butter. So I make a batter with a little bit of flour, eggs, milk, and I do half milk and half beer. So it's a wet batter. And I put the chanterelles in there and I put them in a quick frying pan. Not too much oil, just fry the chanterelle without moving them around too much. So you end up with a nice little fried chanterelle. And I'm going to use that on top of the ribeye that's sliced super thin. And I'm going to flash that in the oven. I don't need to do anything else but flashing it in the oven, sliced thin, at about 350 degrees for about 2 minutes. So I'm warming up the ribeye. And I'm going to put that carrot and celery sauce with it, or I'm going to put the ribeye back into the foie gras sauce. So now I have a base with the beef, the vegetables, the foie gras broth or sauce, and then of course the chanterelle fried right on top of that. It could be a light dinner. I would definitely recommend a green salad on the side. Maybe some Pepto-Bismol. No, I'm just kidding. No, this is actually a nice little dinner. And again, when you do things like this, remember, you're not trying to eat the whole refrigerator at once. You don't have to eat 10 pounds of foie gras to have a great meal with foie gras. It's actually disgusting if you eat too much of it. So just eat a little bit, but just the idea is flavoring and tasting, right? You don't have to eat a lot. Now, accentuate on the, make sure you put more carrots, celery, and onion, because that's the base of the recipe, with the potato, and then put your foie gras in there with the chicken stock. That should be quite delicious. The steak sliced in there so you have a little meat. You don't even have to add that if you don't have it. And then your fried chanterelle on top of that. That sounds good. Yeah, I think I'm coming over for dinner. No, you're cooking.
I'll show you the fridge.
I already told you what to do. Anyone else? What's left in your fridge? Yes. Oh, here, get a microphone. Are you guys having fun yet, by the way? Yeah. Are you learning anything?
Yes.
That's the most important part for me. Make sure you learn something.
Right, so I got some fresh tagliatelle, lemon pepper chicken breast that was pan roasted, homemade marinara sauce, some Parmesan. God, what else do I got in there?
Do you have any eggplant?
No.
Peppers?
No.
Onions?
On the counter.
You guys listen very well. Tomato?
No, I don't have any tomatoes.
You were so good on the counter.
Garlic though.
Lemon?
Yes.
Orange?
No.
Blueberry, raspberry, blackberry, anything like that? Any berries? What else do you have? Cheese?
Yeah, I got
Oh,
the.
you said Parmesan.
Yeah, I got the Parmesan. I've also got some fresh corn and romaine.
Romaine. Okay, cool. So I think what we can do, I know that you have tagliatelle, so the easiest thing in the world would be to make a pasta with all these ingredients. But I already talked about pasta, so let's talk about something else, because tagliatelle, are they fresh?
Yeah.
So you can wait till tomorrow when I'm gone. Do that tomorrow with something else. I think we should do a nice little, like a Pyrex pan or casserole of the, I like the marinara. I love marinara sauce. I think it's a great sauce to do a base of like a stew in the oven. You put all the ingredients together and then you go make yourself a cocktail and watch the news and come back and the whole thing is ready, and open a nice bottle of wine with Chianti and then sit at the table and dinner's ready. So, but the idea to achieve that is to take those onions again, pan saute. Do you have any, you said you have marinara sauce, Parmesan, onion, lemon, cold? Yeah, so using the the onions, pan saute the onions, and by the way, it might sound like the same song, but onions raw are not very attractive in most cases, especially in a dish. If you put them in a salad, it's one thing because you're looking for that flavor of raw onion, especially white onion. In Mexican food, it's very common to marinate the white onion sliced with white vinegar, and it's a very common thing to do, to use with cachito pibil or things like that. It's a great garnish. But into, for example, a tomato sauce or a soup, it's like it takes you 2 minutes. By sweating the onions, you're adding a layer of flavor to the onions and you're tenderizing them and getting that sugar to caramelize around the onions, which is adding one layer of flavor. I think it's better for you. Do you have any garlic?
Yeah.
So I would do garlic slice super thin slivers of garlic and caramelize the onion. When they're almost done, add all the garlic in there. Do you have any dry spices in your cupboard?
No, actually, it's all fresh.
What do you have in fresh?
Oregano, thyme.
Oregano, stop right there. Put oregano, diced oregano, throw that on top of your garlic. So you get olive oil, onions, garlic, oregano. You get a nice base. Then you put in your marinara sauce right on top of that. So now you're enhancing the flavor of your marinara sauce. You're giving another layer of flavor. And the corn, is it corn on the cob?
On the cob.
So just shave all the cob and then take all those kernels and throw them into that sauce just like that. So they cook only for a couple of minutes because this time of the year they're ripe, they're tender, they don't need anything else. So you're not trying to cook them for hours, just throw them into the pot. Is it what you fed me? That's not my sense. What was left in your fridge? Just kidding. And use the lemon to juice a little bit into the sauce, in the marinara sauce, to give it a zing. And also use the skin to grate and keep that on the side. We put it at the end on the dish. I love using lemon or anything like this to use everything from the fruit. And if you're going to use an orange or you use an lemon, before you do anything, even if you're just going to make juice, just take it and grate it. You guys have one of those graters, just grate it, because grated citrus is a great finishing to a lot of dishes. All you have to do is mix it with a little bit of chopped parsley or whatever and throw this on top of a pork chop, chicken, pasta, whatever, and you've got a beautiful finishing that's bringing another layer of flavor to your dish. Just perks it up. Even the soup, you throw it at the end with a little breadcrumb. Just gives you a nice little flavor. You've heard the term gremolata on ossobuco. You know, breadcrumb, parsley, garlic, and chopped citrus. Grated citrus right on top of your ossobuco that just perks up the whole dish. So anyway, we're in the corn. We get the marinara. You put the whole thing into a what do you call it? A Pyrex pan or something like deep dish. Then you slice chicken lemon that you have, slice the things really thin and slice it into the sauce. To take all your cheese, you have Parmesan cheese, put all your Parmesan cheese on it, put that in the oven for about 15 minutes, and you'll have a baked Parmesan chicken. In marinara sauce, already in the sauce, going to be freaking delicious because you've enhanced it with other flavor, plus you added corn to the whole sauce. And have a romaine salad on the side. Dressing, let's talk about dressing quickly. How many of you buy dressing in the bottle? How many of you are capable of telling me what's in the dressing in the back of the bottle? Okay, there's no reason in the world why you should buy salad dressing. Now, if there's anybody here who has stock in a salad dressing company, you're in trouble. There is no reason why you should buy salad dressing, because salad dressing is the dumbest thing in the world to make. It's very simple, and it's very tasty. It stays in your fridge for days and months, and there's just no reason why you should buy this crap in the market. 99% of the dressing you buy, it's amazing when you go to QFC or whatever. There's like 100 freaking dressing in the bottle. I'm like, why is there so many dressings? And I don't understand. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Oh, soy sauce, whatever. And I'm like, why? Why would you want? So I do 3 basic dressing in my life. And the reason I call them basic is because you can do many other dressing, but the 3 basics. So there is what I call my Asian dressing. So soy sauce, Dijon mustard, grated ginger, if you want, or not. It's not even necessary. Soy, ginger, sesame oil. And the reason I put the mustard is because I don't have to, the reason I put my mustard in there is because it's emulsified. What does that mean? That means that I put the mustard, the soy sauce, shake the crap out of it, add the sesame oil, shake the crap out of it. I get a beautiful sauce. I got a dressing that can be used as a sauce on a piece of salmon, or chicken, or halibut, or broccoli, roasted cauliflower, anything. I can use it anywhere. And it's in my fridge, in a jar. I make a whole batch at a time because I don't want to be making dressing every meal I'm cooking, because otherwise I'm going to end up buying this crap in the market because I don't want to make dressing every day. Right? So when you make it, one of the great things I do, how many of you have a jar of Grey Poupon in your refrigerator? You know what I'm talking about? The Grey Poupon mustard? So when you get down to this much in the bottom of your jar, you take 2 lemons, you squeeze the juice in it, you shake the crap out of it, you fill up the rest with olive oil, salt and pepper, and you shake, and you get lemon, olive oil dressing. This dressing goes on everything. You could bathe with it, you could have a facial. That's running out of ideas. But you steaming vegetable, throw the lemon dressing on it. You, I don't know, again, pasta, chicken, salmon, you name it, you get it. You finish a nice steak, slice off the barbecue, you just slice your steak, a little lemon dressing on top, that grated lemon we were talking about earlier with some fresh chives, boom, you get a wonderful little quick, easy made dressing. And that stays in your refrigerator for weeks at a time. So when you make it, you make the whole Grey Poupon jar, and you're gonna be amazed because you're gonna, man, this shit is good. So you're gonna get rid of it in like 3-4 days or 5 days, and you're gonna go, I can make more and make a batch. Next thing you know, you've got a pint jar in your refrigerator of lemon oil dressing, soy dressing, and then the last one is a vinaigrette, which is very simple: red wine vinegar and oil, and then chopped shallots, chopped garlic in it. Now that one doesn't stay quite as long because you have live product into your dressing, which is why, going back to the dressing on the supermarket shelf, the reason they have stuff in language you can't understand and names you've never heard of, which are all mostly chemical that are not necessarily good for you, I can guarantee you that. The reason it's like that is because those stupid dressings have to stay on the shelf, in the sun, in the heat, for like, I don't know, a year. Well, of course, if any food product needs to be staying like that, you gotta do something really bad to it in order for it to stay alive, or to stay stabilized, or to stay, because don't forget, when you buy the dressing, you don't even need to shake it. Look at this shit, it's like, oh my God, it's beautiful, it's already mixed. Well, it's mixed, but there is a reason why mixed stuff stays like this together for 6 months on the shelf in the heat. That's not natural. There's something has to be done to it in order to make that happen. So that's why there is zero need for you to buy dressing. You could use apple vinegar, tarragon vinegar, you could use any kind of vinegar as a base, even wine as a base. Mix with a little mustard, or you could use anything. You could use just a thickener. You could use an egg yolk. If you use any egg yolk in your dressing, that's another reason why you have to not buy your dressing on the market. Because if there is egg yolk in your dressing, you have to use it within the next week or so. So if you're making, for example, Caesar salad dressing, right? You're gonna have to use that salad dressing within a week because egg yolks does not stay alive forever. But you guys logically know that. Once I said that, you're like, well, yeah, of course, right? You can buy Caesar dressing in a bottle that stays on the shelf for 5 years and probably will survive a nuclear holocaust. Those chicken must be amazing. And I don't know where they come from. Anyway, dressings. So did you guys get the message? Make your own dressing. I'm going to be coming and checking in every single one of your refrigerators to make sure this is happening. Thank you very much.
We need lists, right? Because we'll forget everything.
I think if you go on YouTube, you'll be fine. Am I right? Yeah. I mean, this is going to be the longest YouTube sit-up I'm ever going to do. No, but you can buy my book. Go on Amazon and buy my book. I tell you, there's all these things on my book. It's called Robert's Cookbook. It's not in publication anymore, but you can find it for probably a used one for probably $2. No, Don't be so cheap. I don't understand. Get it delivered. Same day.
Chef Thierry, do you want to talk a little bit about your restaurants before we close out, or?
I want to talk about this first. This is a little thing that's happening starting today until the end of the month. I know you guys can read, so you can see what it says. You guys ever heard of South Sudan? Right? A new country in Africa. It's pretty recent. Well, they're having a serious amount of issues with, obviously, war and all kind of displacement going on with people. It's a pretty ugly scene down there. So somehow there's, who's putting this together? It's Google who's doing this?
Yeah, it's Action Against Hunger that Google has partnered with.
Okay, so Google is partnering with Action Hunger, and as you can see, the numbers are pretty scary. 4.8 million food insecure people, 2.3 million displaced. This is a country, how many people live in that country? I don't know, but not that many. So these numbers are pretty scary when you think about it in terms of scale. But most importantly, I'm just talking about this because I'm a big fighter for hunger in America. I try to stick to America because already that's a pretty big damn country. And the fact that we have a problem with hunger anywhere on the planet is horrible, but especially in America. So back to Sudan, you guys, there's a thing going on where you can donate to Go Give for Hunger. If you can't donate, find someone who can. That's usually the way the fight works for anything. Right?
And we have a badging station over here too. So you can donate on Go Give for Hunger. Any donation we're grateful for. So you can just click your badge and you can get a raffle ticket. We have a personal barista, a ton of different prizes. We're also doing a silent auction for the rest of the week in Pseudo, so you can do that as well.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'll donate 9 for 2 at Klugh for whoever raises the most money.
Ooh.
Oh, that rhymes. 9 for 2 at Klugh. Whoever raise the most money.
There you go.
All right, you guys good? You raise a ton of money. Whoever, that's the same one. Same amount. I was about to say something really good. Just raise the money and whoever raised the most can get lunch at Klugh for 2. Wow, that was a good incentive, right? You guys look so excited about this. Wow, we need to have a party about that. All right, about my restaurant, you guys know I have 2 restaurants. I have one called Klugh on 28th and Madison, in Madison Valley, right next to where I used to have a restaurant called Rovers there for 26 years. And the other one is downtown Seattle, in the Sheraton Hotel at the corner of 6th and Union, called Klugh Kitchen and Bar. How many of you have been to Klugh? Potential customers. You guys get those cards, you come in, we give you a glass of bubbly. Lali, yeah. Where do you guys go eat? I'm curious, where do you guys go eat? Do you guys go out for dinner? To his house, he's got 4 guys. Where do you guys go out for dinner? Do you guys stay on the east side? Is that what it is? Or do you guys go on downtown Seattle? No? Yeah?
I'm usually downtown.
Cool.
Nice.
How many of you been to Klugh? Whoa. Cool. Well, both restaurants are very accessible, price-wise. They're Klugh is a very beautiful, sophisticated-looking modern restaurant that we definitely try to be very accessible, from burger to scrambled egg and caviar. So the spectrum is very wide. It's meant to satisfy all your needs. I have a radio show every Saturday and Sunday on Cairo 97.3 FM with Tom Douglas. You guys ever heard of him?
Yeah.
How come you've heard of him and not me? This is not right. So Tom and I have this show for about 12 years now. You can podcast it and we talk about food and what's in the news and kind of thing in terms of food and wine and everything like this. And what else can I tell you about me? That's about it. You know, hope to see you in the restaurants, and most importantly, I hope you get something out of today. And remember, you don't always have to buy it, sometimes you just have to make it. Invite your friend over, they can help. At least make the cocktails. Thanks so much, you guys.